What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training. It's today we're going to be breaking down the top 3 best routes from this past NFL season. Okay, so since it's Super Bowl week, I wanted to recap some of the best routes that we've seen from this past year. We're going to be looking at the top 3 routes in descending order. So we're going to be going 3, 2, then 1. So the first route is going to be this whip route from Hunter Renfrow. Okay, so now this whip route against press coverage inside shade on the 5-yard line with Derek Carr working some kind of play action or sprint out concept. Okay, and also, fellas, one other thing, if you guys have any kind of video feedback or video suggestions for this video, don't hesitate to leave those in the comments section as well. We always love to hear from you guys, and it helps us come up with new ideas for the channel. So we always appreciate it. If you guys have any suggestions, don't hesitate to leave that below. So I'm going to play this clip full speed. So with this route right here, I want to talk about the timing of the release, the mechanics of the slide, and then the hip drop on the whip portion of this. Okay, so now Renfrow does a great job of understanding timing. As a wide receiver, you don't want to know just your route. You want to know the whole entire play. You got to be like a second quarterback on the field just when it comes to this so you can time up your releases correctly, right? So obviously towards the end of this play, let's take a look. Derek Carr is obviously on the run. He's obviously coming off of some kind of play action, either maybe buying some time for himself or he's doing just a standard sprint out. So all 3 of those situations mean that as a wide receiver, I have more time to work a press release. So this slide release right here that he uses, which is why, again, this is such a great route because of just the timing of the play in general. This is one of the most heavily criticized releases, I feel, because everybody says, oh, it's going to take too long. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Quarterback's not going to have enough time. And yeah, that's going to be the case if he's just taking a 3-step drop and dropping back. But if he's doing play action, he has to sell a fake. We have a little bit more time. It's a longer developing play. Or maybe the quarterback is in 3-step pass pro, but he's got 7 guys blocking for me and the defense is only bringing 5. He has time. Not every single situation in football is cover 0 blitz. Everybody's in man coverage. That's not how football works. There's different scenarios and different situations where different types of things will work. So that's the first part of this. So now the technique of this slide release that everybody loves to talk about is that he does such a great job of keeping range with the DB, and that's why this thing works, because so many guys on this slide will go too lateral, and when you go too lateral, you're giving way too much of a gap with that DB, right? Or they'll go too vertical, and they'll get too close to this DB, and all this DB's going to do is get hands and screw up the timing with the quarterback, and that's the easiest way to disrupt the slide release is if he gets hands. So how you can work this slide release is attacking on this 45-degree angle where you slide, where this guy's either going to have to, if he wants to get hands, he's going to have to come at you, or because you're going at that 45, you're actually threatening to the fade, so he has to shuffle. And that's what gets his feet to move, because you could always be a threat of just shuffling and then just taking off and running a fade like Darius Adams likes to do, right? So that's a perfect example of the range on the slide release, okay? So now, top of the route, this hip drop for the whip route. I think this is such a great route because, again, when you guys are running any kind of double move, whether it's a post corner, whether it's out and up, or whether it is a whip route, that first portion of the break is everything. You have to make sure that you are selling with stride. You have to make sure that your body language is committed to the break, and you have to make sure that you have speed. Because if you could have all 3 of those things, that DB will commit. Everything about that looks like a slant. But now, how do you change direction when doing that? And you have to make sure that you have a violent hip drop. And you see how Renfrow, when he drops, bringing the chin to his knee, chest is going forward. He's actually dropping his hips. He's snapping on the inside foot here and then hooking the outside foot around so he could actually drive off of this foot and push. Now, again, a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's a good way to hurt yourself. Not if you keep your feet underneath your frame. If this hook step, because you're trying to get out of the break too fast, gets way outside your frame, yeah, that puts a lot of stress on your knee, that puts a lot of stress on your ankle. But if you snap down and get to that low explosive position, A, that's how you're going to stop. But when you hook this leg around being underneath your frame, B, that's how you're going to be efficiently able to get out of the route. So that is a perfect route there by Renfrow. That's why I feel like it's the 3rd best route of the year. Let's watch the thing full speed one more time before we get into this second route right here. So great job with the slide, selling the whip, snapping, hooking the step around, and then creating a ton of separation. All right, guys, this second route now is going to be from Darius Adams working this slant route on the goal line, okay? But before we get into that, fellas, I want to talk to you guys about a great opportunity we are having on our website. We are offering a 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. So what that is, it's a 4-week-long schedule with all the on-field wide receiver drills you need to be doing to improve your route running, your press releases, your hands, your explosiveness, all the above that's going to help you translate to on-field play, okay? So all the exercises are mapped out into specific sets and reps, and we include a 30-minute long video explaining each drill and showing a full speed example of each drill. So if you guys are interested in something like this, check out that very first link in the description below for our 4-week long wide receiver on-field workout plan. Let's get back to this video. So now this route from Davante Adams is so great because it builds off of each other. This is why I like this route. This is why I feel like it's the second best route of the year, is that you got to make your routes build off of each other. So many guys struggle with doing this, is that for 9 different routes, they have 9 different ways of doing things. Keep it simple, right? So we're going to play this thing full speed. So he attacks the DB's leverage, gives those eyes on those 3 steps to the outside, and is able to run that slant route. So let's talk about this, right? So if you were to run a goal line fade right here, how would you go about this? You wouldn't just take off and go run it, right? Because we got an inside shade DB who's in this like catch technique. So he's inside shade for a reason. His goal is to force you to the outside, right? His goal is to get right into your hip, right into your shoulder, squeeze you to that sideline, because the sideline is where he has his help, right? That's his number one goal. But if I attack his leverage and threaten him inside, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to keep his leverage. He's going to do whatever he can to not let you run a slant route and just cross his face. So to run this slant route, I got to make sure that I'm attacking to the outside because I want to make it look like a fade. And so Adams does exactly that. He attacks him right here, and then he peeks back with those eyes to sell like it's that goal line fade. His shoulders and his hips are committed because that's where that DB is supposed to be watching. He's actually running in stride and is able to put the brakes on. Now, you might ask yourself, why would he attack the DB's leverage here? Why wouldn't he just go to the outside right now? Because if he were to just go to the outside right now, there's too much of a gap between the two. So if he were to put the brakes on and still keep that 3-step slant timing, there would be too much space and that DB would have more time to recover on the ball. So you want to attack him, put him on the defensive, but also, again, make sure that there's not as much space, but also make it look exactly like how you would run a fade in this situation. And that peek back move is just added to the release. You don't necessarily have to peek back, especially if you're in open field, but on the goal line, on that 5-yard line, that is certainly one of those things that will get you a lot of separation. And then great job accelerating and finishing the play, fellas. You guys have to understand that on every single route, it is a race to this ball. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be me or it's going to be the DB. So when I come off of that break, I need to make sure my mindset is I am accelerating and I'm winning that race back to that ball. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Adams attacking him, bursting up outside for 3 steps, putting the brakes on, and then making this catch over the middle. All right, guys, so the next route, I think everybody may have seen this coming, but this is that post route from Gabriel Davis against the Chiefs in the playoffs. I feel like this was probably the best route of the year just based on what happened to the DB and how he was able to get separation. A lot of people say this is an overrated route. I completely disagree. I think this is an outstanding route, and I think this is exactly what you want to do in this situation when you have outside leverage coverage and just the situation as well, fellas. You guys got to be able to make big-time plays in big-time situations, and that's what he did right here. So this is the number 1 route of the year, in my opinion. So let's watch the thing full speed. So he hits him with the rocker step, attacking that DB, and being able to get him to fall off of this thing, right? So why would he go with this move? What are we trying to sell on this move, right? So if I have a DB who's outside shade, why is he outside shade number 1? He's outside shade because he's trying to force me where? He's trying to force me to the inside. So that means that he has safety help. He's not going to let me run 50 yards across the field with no safety help. So pre-snap, I can anticipate that. Okay, there's probably 1 safety. There's probably 2 safeties. He's outside leverage. He's got help to the inside. So if I got to run a post route and I just break this thing off right in front of him, that DB is going to be right on my hip. He's going to be right on my hip, and he's going to force me into a safety, and that's going to be an extremely tight window for the quarterback. So you want to stem this DB who's on the outside shade, right? So he's outside shade, and you see how he starts to attack him with this stem. He starts to go at him with the stem, starting to try to step on his toes, attack the front hip. Now, he decides to go with what we call a rocker step. So a rocker step is like a 2-step break. So we were trying to sell like I'm running an out route, right? Because that's how you would run an out route versus outside shade. You'd attack him, try to get his hips to flip by attacking the inside shoulder, maybe getting his hips to turn and then slip back underneath. And that's a very real thing in this case because, again, this is where the chains are. It's a 4th down situation. They got to get a 1st down, so maybe they try to get this guy on an out route, and Allen throws this thing early right off the break. So that's what we are trying to sell here. So that's exactly what he does. And now, how do you sell this thing? You got to make sure that the 2 steps are violent and that upper half has to sell because look where the DB is looking. He is reading the hips. He is reading the body language. So that's that's what I have to sell with as a wide receiver. That's got to be my mindset. 1, 2. And you see how much I throw at the hips, throw at the shoulders, step here to threaten that DB, and that's what gets him to ultimately fall down. Great route there by Gabe Davis. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job selling like he's running the out route by hitting him with that rocker step and using that upper half to create some separation. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions that you would like to have answered, any questions you'd like to have answered with a video, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. And again, fellas, if you would like a full 4-week wide receiver on-field workout schedule with everything you need to do drill-wise with sets and repetitions, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.